This is my audience.
Chill.
They're not listening, but it's okay. So my presentation is on online learning versus in-person learning. The article on yellowday.com called In-Person versus Online Learning goes into detail about the pros and cons of pros and cons of online learning and in-person learning. So I'm just going to go over that. Let's see. So with online learning, it is ideal for individuals who benefit off making their own schedule. And a good example would be a person who works full-time, who has a family, and has other commitments. So on the website, it does touch base on that a little bit, and for me, that kind of goes hand in hand because, you know, I have other commitments, family, so that does make a lot of sense for the online learning. And it also became more available during COVID, so it's a little bit more convenient. So that's a little bit of how the online platform works, because we have all of these apps and things like that to make it more efficient. Technology and online learning, the apps that you can use are anything from FaceTime, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and that's what makes it easier. There is Wi-Fi. The college does provide the Wi-Fi system, so it makes it a good resource. Some pros and cons for online learning is easy accessibility at any time. A good example of that would be if you're at work, on lunch, you can go ahead and do the online learning. You have that flexibility to do it at any time. You don't have to be in a classroom at a set time to do that class. It's self-paced. It's self-paced, so you have the flexibility, and it is less expensive most of the time because you are able to buy the books online, which can be a lot cheaper than buying them in paper. And it's also good for the environment to not buy the paper. Some of the cons of online learning is if you have lack of engagement with your peers or your professor. It's non-existent or sometimes even limited. They have some hybrid classes, but a lot of the online platform doesn't allow a lot of interaction, so it's very minimal. Some subjects are hard online for teachers to make a lesson plan to teach you. Ones that usually have hands-on or math type classes, because a lot of the time those classes require labs. So that can be some cons to the online learning platform. Some pros of in-person learning, we're going to move on to that, is easier for interaction with peers and instructors. Usually it's just easier to ask those questions right then and there rather than having to send an email or do a Zoom call, schedule something. You have that professor available to you there and your peers available. It's easier to conduct those discussions, which is easier for you to talk to people amongst you rather than online. You do have discussion boards, but sometimes peers don't respond necessarily to your discussion. And there is less distractions when you're in a classroom rather than at home where there's a lot of things going on. Some cons of in-person learning is local colleges not having the classes or the major that you want to basically go to school for. So that's why they had, before COVID, had the online platform, so you can go ahead and do your schooling online. Well, now the cons to that is basically you can't do the desired field at the college. And then time. If you don't have enough time, that can be a factor because you have to go to classroom a certain period. Which is better is really up to you, because it's just based off the individual's time. So for some people, it may be easier to go in person. For some people, the online is more flexible. Like I discussed, if you have a busy schedule, you work full time, you have a family, other commitments. So that's a good way to decide which one is better for you.